Welcome back to the Beauty Bulletin, your biweekly roundup of the biggest stories shaping the beauty world right now. Let's dive in. L'Oreal has finalized their Kering Beaute acquisition. They have completed their acquisition of Kering Beaute, a deal valued at around 4 billion euros that brings the prestigious fragrance house Creed into L'Oreal's Luxe division. The deal, which was first announced in October of 2025, hands L'Oreal exclusive 5-year licenses to develop and distribute beauty lines for both Bottega Veneta and Balenciaga. The agreement also sets a clear path for Gucci. L'Oreal is set to take over the brand's beauty rights once its current contract with Coty expires, staying in line with Kering's prior commitment. Beyond just expanding their portfolios, these two industry leaders are already eyeing what comes next. Both companies confirmed that they are exploring a joint venture dedicated to the growing sectors of wellness and longevity. Nicholas Hieronymus, the chief executive officer of L'Oreal, had this to say. Quote, "This significant new milestone in our strategic partnership with Kering reinforces our position as the world's #1 in both beauty and luxury beauty. We will now work together over the next 50 years to write the next chapter of these iconic brands to unlock their immense growth potential." End quote. This deal marks a strategic pivot for Kering as it scales its beauty business through L'Oreal's global infrastructure. Luca De Meo, the CEO of Kering, had this to say about the acquisition. Quote, "By leveraging L'Oreal's unmatched expertise in the beauty sector, we are opening a new phase of acceleration for the development of fragrances and cosmetics for our houses. This long-term partnership will enable us to fully realize their potential in this category and support their development, drawing on the creativity, desirability, and excellence that set them apart." End quote. On the heels of that acquisition news of Kering Beaute, Kering actually reports a lackluster Q1 revenue in their first quarter without beauty. Revenues decreased 6% to 3.5 billion euros, following the fashion house's offloading of its beauty arm, Kering Beaute, to L'Oreal in March of 2026. So Kering's shares plummeted by double digits in early trading on April 14th, following a lackluster first quarter of trading in 2026, saying that it was impacted by the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Revenues decreased 6% to, like I said, 3.5 billion euros, dragged down by a 2% decline in sales from the directly operated retail network, including e-commerce. Kering's performance was also impacted by ongoing conflict in the Middle East, and in the first quarter, retail revenue in the region declined by 11%, following growth over the first 2 months of the year. This is a statement from Kering about this Q1 news. Quote, "Beyond the localized impact, which we continue to monitor closely, the broader consideration going forward relates to potential impacts on global tourism trends and the macroeconomic backdrop." End quote. Gucci, meanwhile, recorded a revenue of $1.3 billion in the first quarter, down 14% on a reported basis and 8% on a comparable basis year on year. Sales from the directly operated retail network declined by 9%, although North America delivered a solid performance, up 8% year over year. Here's another quote from Luca De Meo, the CEO of Kering. Quote, "In the first quarter of 2026, group revenue stabilized, marking an important first step in our recovery and a further sequential improvement. This performance reflects the first tangible effects of our actions despite a challenging geopolitical environment. Nearly all of our houses delivered growth during the quarter, with a particularly strong contribution from jewelry." End quote. Moving into launches, La Roche-Posay eyes expansion retail with an in-store launch at Walmart nationwide. La Roche-Posay, the dermatologist-recommended skincare brand, has made its beloved skincare products available in 1,460 Walmart stores across the United States. With this change, the brand aims to improve the quality of life for millions by democratizing access to clinically proven skincare. Through this collaboration, La Roche-Posay and Walmart will elevate the retail experience and revolutionize the level of care available in the market as it stands. Through specialized training, the brand will empower Walmart pharmacists to serve as specialized skincare advisors, providing personalized consultations that address complex needs, including the skin side effects of medical treatments. Here is a quote from Rochelle Mladenkovich, the general manager of La Roche-Posay. Quote, "The decision to bring La Roche-Posay to Walmart is rooted in our shared commitment to providing healthy skin, fueled by science and purpose, and driven by patient centricity and accessibility. From newborns to cancer patients and from UV protection to repairing fragile skin, La Roche-Posay drives dermatology forward by joining forces with the medical community. By launching at Walmart, we are significantly expanding the reach of our mission to make science-backed skincare more accessible." End quote. And lastly, here's a quote from Vanima Shakar, the Vice President of Beauty, Walmart US. Quote, "We are thrilled to expand La Roche-Posay skincare into our stores and make advanced skincare more accessible to our customers. Our beauty strategy is anchored in ensuring customers have access to the brands and the products they need, want, and love across every tier of the category. Through the combination of our trusted, knowledgeable team of pharmacists and the science-backed skincare of La Roche-Posay, Walmart will further strengthen its place as a leading skincare destination." End quote. Also launching, NYX Professional Makeup has decided to enter the body care space. The brand just announced the launch of their Fat Oil Body Collection, marking the first time in its 27-year history that it's moving beyond the jawline and into the body aisle. Building on their viral success of their iconic Fat Oil lip range, the collection is going to introduce a mix of glow-enhancing oils, fragrances, and hydrating lotions designed to meet the growing demand for full-body beauty rituals. NYX is bringing a 12-product edit packed with mist, butters, and oils infused with avocado oil and vitamin E to nourish the whole body. The brand has even split the range into 4 distinct scent profiles, so your self-care routine can match your mood. Sugar Batty is a gourmand fever dream of vanilla cookies and whipped cream. Caramel Mommy is a rich caramel and pistachio cream scent. Coconut Cutie delivers a tropical mix of coconut and peach. And Juicy Boo is a zesty blend of clementine and mango. And it looks like not all of the scents will be available in every type of format. So like there's a bronze shimmer body oil and a golden shimmer body butter for the Caramel Mommy, while the Coconut Cutie has a body oil, body mist, and a butt sheet mask, which is the second time I'm seeing that in my life. So it looks like you can kind of mix and match and figure out what scent you like. Here's a quote from Denise Pearson, the global brand president at NYX. Quote, "NYX Professional Makeup has always been a brand that pushes the boundaries of artistry and self-expression. As beauty evolves, we see that the community is looking for new ways to express their creativity beyond traditional face makeup. The Fat Oil Body Collection allows us to deepen the brand's storytelling among the Gen Z audience. By extending one of our most beloved franchises, we have the opportunity to give our audience new ways to celebrate artistry with texture, fragrance, shine, and self-expression across the entire body." End quote. And in launch partnership news, Urban Outfitters has welcomed Sol de Janeiro to its growing beauty category. So Urban Outfitters is officially welcoming Sol de Janeiro, the globally loved, my niece-obsessed, fast-growing beauty brand known for its sensorial body care and bold Brazilian spirit. This is allowing a continued expansion of Urban Outfitters' assortment and also Sol de Janeiro's availability in different retailers. The collection that will be available at Urban Outfitters will span 40 plus products across body care, fragrance, and hair care, bringing Sol de Janeiro's signature line into Urban Outfitters' distinct merchandising lens. The partnership really reflects a shared understanding of how Gen Z engages with beauty today. So they're saying there's a combination of fashion, culture, and daily rituals, and how they intersect is kind of where Sol de Janeiro and Urban Outfitters comes together. The brand's network of 10,000 plus Gen Z shoppers, students, and influencers have identified skincare, fragrance, and sun care as their top daily use categories, signaling a broader shift toward wellness and fragrance as a key vehicle for self-expression. And the addition of Sol de Janeiro helps to build on this momentum, deepening the retailer's connection with the Gen Z community, while further strengthening Urban Outfitters' position as the go-to destination for those categories and products that are defining the younger culture. Here's a quote from Mary Beth Cahill, the Chief Merchandising Officer at Urban Outfitters. Quote, Urban Outfitters and Sol de Janeiro share a deep connection to how our customers live and express themselves, where beauty, style, and self-expression are inherently linked. This partnership continues our commitment to putting our customer at the center, offering new ways to explore one of the most beloved brands while connecting it to the broader lifestyle they love at Urban Outfitters. End quote. And lastly, here's a quote from Jordan Saxmard, the Chief Marketing Officer of Sol de Janeiro. Quote, Sol de Janeiro has always believed beauty is something you live through scent, body care, and daily rituals that spark joy, self-expression, and self-celebration. Urban Outfitters is a natural partner for us because it understands the connection between beauty, fashion, and individuality. This launch allows us to connect with our community in a space that feels culturally relevant and true to how they discover, express, and define personal style. End quote. And lastly, in launch/partnership news, Aora Mexico has made its U.S. retail debut at Credo Beauty. So just for some transparency, I did write this piece over at Beauty News Daily, but I wanted to include it here because I've been following this brand since I first heard about it a year ago, and I have been obsessed with the vibrancy of the packaging and the colors. So I was really excited when I saw this partnership. So Aora has built a loyal following already through their clean formulations and the fact that they are 100% plastic free. So no plastic at all, even the caps of the eyeliners, all of it plastic free. And so they've kind of grown in popularity with their Mirame palette and their Mas Spicy lip serum. So they have a bunch of these really already viral products before landing at Credo. And the timing of this launch is perfect, landing during Earth Month, and underscoring the shared sustainability values of Aora and Credo. So Credo has a clean standard, which sets expectations around ingredient safety, sourcing, and environmental impact. And it's kind of become a gold standard for brands that are looking to enter into Credo as their retailer. And here's a quote from Noor Tayara, one of the co-founders of Aora. Quote, to partner with Credo Beauty, a true authority in clean and sustainable beauty, is incredibly meaningful. Their standards have shaped this category, and their belief in Aora is a powerful validation of what we've built. This moment feels pivotal, not just for us, but for what comes next in color cosmetics. End quote. And a little backstory, founded in 2022, Aora was created with a clear belief that clean beauty and bold color are not mutually exclusive. Even the name reflects that energy, a nod to Aora, the Spanish word for now, signaling a call for industry change and a fresh perspective on how color, creativity, and sustainability can show up in beauty today. Through its partnership with Repurpose Global, each plastic-free Aora product sold funds the removal of 9 times the plastic waste generated by an equivalent conventional product. Aora shades are known for being bold and highly pigmented, while their formulas are free from ingredients like talc and PEGs and are ophthalmologist and dermatologist tested. Formulas have also been infused with skin-benefiting ingredients sourced from Mexico, including native chilies and cactus flowers. The launch also makes Aora one of the first prestige color brands at Credo Beauty to feature Spanish language packaging, reflecting both its origins and the growing influence of Latina consumers in the U.S. beauty market. Here's another quote from Noor. Quote, Aora was built on the idea that beauty can be radically different for the planet without compromising performance or design. From day one, we've set out to prove that sustainability can still feel bold, expressive, and unmistakably hot like Mexico. End quote. Rachel Zoe, the OG celebrity stylist, has officially joined Essie as the brand's first ever chief color director. In her new role, the entrepreneur and newest Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member will help shape how Essie shows up in the wider color conversations through events, original content, personal storytelling, and real-time commentary on the trends set to define what people wear next. Zoe will also be stepping in as the founding member of the brand's new Shade Society, an inner circle of tastemakers, creatives, and cultural voices set to celebrate color across everything from fashion and film to interiors. It's a full circle moment for the stylist who admits she's been a brand loyalist since her childhood days visiting the nail salon with her mother and her sister. Her favorite shades include ballet slippers and Wicked. Here's a quote from Rachel. Quote, color is so emotional to me. It's mood driven, it's personal, and it really transcends everything. Partnering with Essie as their new chief color director feels incredibly authentic. I'm excited to help tell a richer, more meaningful story around color and how it shows up in our everyday lives. End quote. The appointment was made official at Rachel's annual pre-Coachella Zoasis dinner. In typical Zoe style, she didn't just announce the news, she wore it, dressing head to toe in a look inspired by the brand's classic marshmallow shade, finished with a custom handbag charm. Her manicure featured the same cloudy, sheer white hue with Essie's nail art studio special effects in cosmic chrome layered over the top. Here's a quote from Zoe Hausman, the VP of Marketing, Brand Engagement, and Strategic Projects at L'Oreal USA. Quote, some people speak French, Rachel speaks Mademoiselle. Rachel has an unparalleled ability to build community and spark trending obsessions. We are thrilled to have her translate Essie's color in such an unexpected, emotional way, marking a bold step forward as we steward our iconic shades into the modern era and redefine the language of color. End quote. This is more of a celebrity group partnership. Lancome has collaborated with The Devil Wears Prada too to promote its new longevity science-backed skincare range in a culturally relevant campaign, which aims to drive both relevance and conversion. The L'Oreal-owned company has been named the signature skincare brand of 20th Century Studios' highly anticipated upcoming movie, with the collaboration spanning activations that blur the lines between entertainment, storytelling, and commerce. The new campaign video they have, called The Absolute Impossible Task, sees Lancome's new Absolute Longevity MD range, which was provided during the production of the film, discussed in the world of Runway. If you haven't seen the movie, Runway is the fictional fashion magazine at the heart of the franchise, which is run by their editor-in-chief, Miranda Priestley, played perfectly by Meryl Streep. And so this skin range is going to debut May 1st as Lancome's first collection grounded in their longevity integrative science, formulated with Swiss biotech firm Timeline's MitoPure technology to act proactively on the skin's visible biological age. Here's a quote from Lyle Breyer, the EVP of Partnerships, Promotions, Synergy, and Events at Disney. Quote, we are proud to collaborate with Lancome on The Devil Wears Prada 2. As the film's signature skincare brand, Lancome's heritage of innovation and enduring elegance aligns seamlessly with a story that continues to define timeless style. End quote. Lancome's Absolute Longevity MD collection will be available to purchase on May 1st, the same day as The Devil Wears Prada 2's theatrical release. Last up in this week's Beauty Bulletin news, an update on those tariff refunds for beauty brands. So you might remember from a few Beauty Bulletins ago that the Supreme Court had struck down some of the Trump tariffs, and big beauty brands, including L'Oreal and e.l.f., quickly filed suits to seek refunds for the tariffs that they had to pay when they were active. Here's a little bit of an update on that. And this is an article from beautymatter.com. So in February of this year, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the International Emergency Economic Powers Act does not authorize the president to impose tariffs. The decision struck down broad tariffs on imports from countries including Canada, Mexico, and China, emphasizing the taxing power belongs to Congress, not the executive branch. But President Trump did impose the tariffs, American businesses paid them, and then in March, a federal judge ordered U.S. Customs and Border Protection to begin processing tariff refunds, which are expected to include interest. People are estimating that reversing the IEEPA tariffs could generate up to $175 billion in refunds. In the days that followed the Supreme Court's ruling, importers began filing suits in the U.S. Court of International Trade, including L'Oreal, Sol de Janeiro, Revlon, e.l.f. Beauty, Schick, Conair, Bath and Body Works, and Dyson, arguing that they were importers of record on goods subject to the now invalid tariffs and are therefore entitled to refunds. So, what began as a tool intended to combat perceived unfair trade practices by foreign countries has actually opened up the door to one of the largest potential refund fights in modern trade history. So, Beauty Matter actually spoke to a number of lawyers and beauty executives to understand exactly how the refund process works and what steps brands should take to preserve their rights to these potential refunds. Of course, this will be linked in the show notes if you are interested in like doing a deep legal dive here. But I just want to point out some of the interesting things that was noted. So, Ashley Ackers, a partner at Holland and Knight, who is helping lead tariff refund efforts, said that beauty companies should not confuse the constitutional ruling or the amended order with an automatic refund check. If you don't raise your hand for a refund, basically the government is not going to just give it to you. So she said, quote, "What's really critical for beauty companies to do now is proactively engage counsel so that they can be in line for the refunds," end quote. She also described the current moment as both a legal opportunity and a logistical race to the refund finish line, with thousands of companies of all sizes potentially eligible for a refund. The tariffs were so broad that it's rare that a company hasn't paid these tariffs, she said. That breadth is what makes the case so consequential for beauty, where supply chains are globally fragmented. It's common for brands to work with multiple suppliers in various countries to procure packaging, source raw materials, and manufactured finished goods. So chances are almost every brand has paid an illegal tariff within the last year. Now, the interesting thing about this is for the companies that had to pass on the tariff additional cost to the actual consumers, which a lot of small brands obviously had to do, and kind of what happens with those refunds if you were a customer who paid them, would you see anything back? Now, I don't know enough about this law. I don't think that we as consumers can file a refund request from the government, but it seems like there are some brands that are going to kind of take it into their own hands. So last year specifically, sexual wellness brand Dame paid more than $120,000 in tariffs, which their co-founder and CEO Alexandra Fine described as a massive hit for the brand's 6-person team. To stay afloat and call attention to the additional cost, Dame added a visible tariff surcharge at checkout, charging customers an additional $5 per product under a line item labeled Trump's tariffs. Here's a quote. Here's a quote Alexandra said to Beauty Matter. Quote, "Some people hated it and questioned why I was making things political, but I'm not being political. I'm just advocating for my business. I want my business to survive, and I want to be a good boss to the people I employ. And to throw that on a small business without any real notice, that makes a huge impact on the business," end quote. The fee didn't even fully cover the added cost, but it certainly helped the situation without the brand having to raise prices on its products. While Dame's method was certainly unconventional, it turned out to be quite useful in the end. Earlier this year, when tariffs were struck down, Dame announced it would refund customers who had paid the surcharge, returning about $8,000 to them. In Alexandria's view, once the government's tariff regime was deemed unlawful, keeping money explicitly collected under that line item no longer sat right with her. Brands that added explicit surcharge lines, like Dame, have a much easier argument for customer refunds than companies that simply push through list price increases. She explained, quote, "Because we charged directly for the Trump tariffs, that's what made it feel so clear and obvious to me that we had to give out refunds. Every company is different, and there is no 100% right way of handling this situation right now," end quote. So for the brands that implemented broad price increases instead of adding those surcharge line items, the changes are really nearly impossible to unwind cleanly. To date, none of the companies that raised the prices in response to tariffs have announced plans to return them to the pre-tariff levels. So, this article has a lot more about the refund process and mitigation resources for brands, and it gets a lot more in depth than I'll get here. But I think it'll be really curious with that much money that can potentially be refunded to brands. I'll be curious to see how many brands decide to go through the process, how long the process takes. I'm sure it will not be quick. As if we know anything about government processes, I don't think it'll be fast, but I will be curious how many brands end up filing suits, and especially in the beauty space. So I will keep an eye out for any additional stories on this topic. From retail expansions to fun partnerships in Urban Outfitters and Walmart to beauty brands grabbing those tariff refunds, that's your roundup of this week's top beauty stories. Stay tuned for the next Beauty Bulletin as we track the shifts shaping how we shop, wear, and experience beauty. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, share, pass on to a friend. Let's expand this beauty nerd space. And until next time, bye.